in Rome. You have to have eyes in the back of your head. What if she didn't? If she's lying in a hospital bed hooked up to drips and beeping technology? If we haven't heard anything because she wasn't carrying ID? My diaphragm clutches. I can't let a breath out. The back of my neck prickles with cold sweat. Sometimes I get it from my groin to my knees, and my clothes will be soaked in seconds. Breathe. Sit down. Stop being so ridiculous. Of course she hasn't had an accident. She's just ignoring you, because finally she can. To distract myself, I put the kettle on, but I still feel discomfort prowling about inside my head. I stand there tap-tapping my fingernails on the fake granite. How many hours until bedtime? I used to do this with wine. Wait until 4 o'clock, then I could sink the bottle. Now it's sleep. Those magical 9 or 10 hours where I managed to give life the slip. At first I figured if I got up early, I could call it a day early, because evenings are always the hardest for me to be alone. It's after about 7 p.m. when I recognize I'm not quite the lover of my own company I always thought. But now I go to bed early and get up late because who cares? There's no one around to see me anyway. From my half-open window, I watch the rain as it bounces off the ground. Port Townsend is supposed to be in the Olympic rain shadow and get drier, brighter weather than Seattle, but so far you wouldn't know it. All it's done is rain since I got here. I regret not packing more sweaters the day I walked out of my door, so certain of what I was doing, and yet, at the same time, not having a bloody clue. In the distance, I can see the virtually uninterrupted expanse of cold steel sea. The downpour has awakened the mature lavender and rosemary bushes, though. I can smell them in every room, which is nice. Calming. I look in the cupboard, but there aren't any clean cups. I haven't washed dishes in days. I've never been much of a housefrau. My modus operandi tends to be, watch the place become an utter disaster, then wait 1 more week. I can't shake off the awful emptiness that's come over me since hearing Jessica's voice. When did this wedge come between us? Would it have happened to anyone in our circumstances? Did I allow it to occur in the slow, grey aftermath, because I was so into my own head that I almost forgot I even had a daughter? In my mind's eye, I can see her lurking behind Mark, as he poked his head around our bedroom door when I was pretending to read. "We're going for a walk. Come with us? You've got to get some air." Jessica standing there so still, her eyes monitoring every beat of my reaction, brimming with apprehension and the tiniest bit of hope. She doesn't know who I am anymore. I am too many moving parts. Me saying, "Leave me alone, just go." Then I heard the front door close, and I was left with the low, steady hammer of my guilt. Why am I being so unfair to them? Why can't I make an effort? The kettle whistles me back to life. I switch off the gas and continue to stand there, bewildered. I am in this familiar place again. The grabbing hands of depression. But as though the weather is trying to tell me something, there's a sudden break in the rain. I decide to put on my waterproof Barber jacket, rooting swiftly to the hall cupboard before I can talk myself out of it. I have always liked the Pacific Northwest, in particular Port Townsend. For no sensible reason, because it's rainy, green, historic, and on the water, it reminds me of England, even though I grew up in the countryside, not on the coast. Mark and I came here once or twice when Jessica was a baby. I have retraced the gritty path of that happiness so many times lately. When I boarded the flight from Heathrow to Seattle, not much older than Jessica, off for a summer adventure after 3 years of uni, the last thing I imagined was that I'd meet an American the day I arrived and be pregnant 6 months later. Definitely not my big life plan. Yet, oddly, everything felt like it was happening exactly as it was meant to. My baby rarely cried and was a remarkably good sleeper. Mark was a doting father, 5 years older than me, juggling his first promotion at Microsoft, plus night school to get his patent engineer qualification. We were hopelessly unprepared and fudging it. Yet, I was aware of being blessed, which must